Welcome to the Humane Roundup PAWcast, where we take you into the demanding yet rewarding lives of animal control, animal service, and humane officers. And now, with over 50 years of combined experience, here is Officer Hildy and his crew of animal welfare professionals.
What's up, y'all?
Feeling old. I'm feeling old with that 50-year thing.
50 years and shit. What?
50.
I'm almost there. Goddamn youngsters.
I know, but yeah, Ocho.
Yeah, the intro doesn't say that 90% of that's from Daniel and Ocho.
Yeah. That's what I was about to say. What's going on, guys?
Man,
Not on call?
nothing much.
I'm actually editing Joe the ACO pictures while we are recording right now. I'm multitasking.
Does he sound all...
Yeah, you also got real robotic on us just now.
You sound like you had some ketamine in you.
He got that ketamine and
Got that
silencing.
special K going.
Comment. Do I sound better now? I've got the Joe the ACO
Yeah,
filter on.
No,
That
so
what?
based,
No.
so I released a new shirt. Well, actually, it's not released yet. It's going to be released on Valentine's Day. But I did a little
this
photo
is
shoot.
Joe the ACO plug right now. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Just go ahead, take over
I'm
the
just trying
show.
to cover up for him what he was trying to say. So, and I did a photo shoot with my wife, and I like, hey, shoot me some pictures because I was just editing on my phone. He's like, I'll work on some of your pictures. I'm like, cool. So I sent him some pictures. So he's hooking it up.
Sweet.
By the way, I really like Kyle's editing skills.
I know, he's a fucking master.
Yeah, he beat me.
And you're a great designer.
Thanks, bro.
And Dan's hella smart. And
No,
Ocho's
Dan is not
hella
smart.
funny.
Dan is intelligent. He's an intelligent person.
He is.
You think? Nah. I appreciate the nice words. I ain't shit. That's about it.
And Mel is awesome too. And you're probably wondering who the hell is Mel, but
Who's Mel?
Yeah,
Mel
who's
is
that?
here.
I'm Mel.
Yeah,
Me.
Mel is here all the way from Idaho. She's pretty awesome. She sent us 2 really long emails that I read, and I was like, yes, I have to have her on. She's fucking awesome. And we're going to talk about those emails today, so stay tuned.
Let's talk about it.
What part of Idaho?
The Boise area.
Yeah,
Boise, it's
we're going to leave it at that.
My PIO says I can't say any more than that.
Sound good.
Yeah, so just like every other episode, we're going to start off with some announcements first. For real, our Bonfire Save Australia campaign is over. We're recording this on Sunday, so by the time you hear this on Friday, it's going to be long over, but
You got to let me know how much I need to write a check for because I made a promise on the air.
Get it?
did.
$1 million.
And we're getting there. So by the time you hear this, it's going to be long over, but I wanted to thank all of the people that bought shirts or mugs or hats or whatever and helped us be able to help some of the animals in Australia. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank everybody except for that lady called us thieves.
He's not going to let it go. So with that, I would like to say that we, just by the listeners buying things from our campaign, have raised $61.83. And with Officers Paw Patrol's matching donation, that's going to bring us up to $123.66. So that is fucking awesome.
So pretty much if people want to spend my money, they got to go buy a shirt.
Yeah. But
Exactly.
by the time they hear this, it's going to be too late. So they're going to have to catch us next time.
Well, then you should have spent my money.
I know. But I mean, we did a good job for our first fundraiser. We could have done better, of course, but I do want to thank everyone out there that did purchase. And so that kind of brings me to my next topic. And I'm going to reward those of you that have bought either Humane Roundup swag or our Save Australia swag. And for our February Coranda giveaway, I want you guys to post a photo of yourself or your Humane Roundup or Save Australia swag and do hashtag Coranda giveaway. And I also want you to tag the Humane Roundup and Coranda in your post. And that's going to enter you into February's drawing for a Coranda dog bed, cat bed, or cat tower up to 3 tiers.
Dope. And we already got somebody posting stuff. I saw that today, my man Kyle, not to be confused with OPP.
Yeah.
OPP.
Kyle Minette.
By the way, Hildy, thank you for that mug, man. I really loved it. I was surprised when I seen it.
I just noticed that you didn't get any of the swag for the awesome design that you made, so I wanted to give you a little gift. And I used to drink coffee a lot, but I'm not really a coffee drinker recently, so I was like, I'm gonna give this to Joe.
I drink 2 cups of coffee every
re-gifted
morning.
it? You bought it for yourself, and then you just was like, I don't really use this anymore. I'm gonna give it to Joe.
I don't care. I don't care if he used it.
I didn't re-gift it because I never used it
that way.
So was it stained in the bottom of it?
Of using it.
There was like a brown stain in the bottom, but I didn't. This is how it went down. She gave me the box. It was a little white box, and I had my cup, just a styrofoam cup in my hand of coffee. So then I opened it. Right when I opened it, I'm like, had a little brown spot in there, but I didn't care. I just poured my coffee in there. I'm like, heck yeah, here we go. I drank it.
Extra flavor.
Yeah, it had Hildy flips on there. You know when you take a drink of coffee, it had a little drip on top.
The lipstick.
I went, take the chocolate.
But yes, Daniel, to answer your question, I did initially buy it for me. I did buy a few things, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this to Joe for all his hard work. So I can't take complete credit. I didn't buy the coffee mug specifically for you, Joe, but
it's all good, man. It's a thought that counts, you know? I feel bad for not sending any shirts up there. It just kind of happened like, I'm like, oh man, I actually do have a shirt for Ocho.
Cool.
Right.
Well, you are welcome. Those are all the announcements I have. Again, thank you to everyone that helped us support the wildlife warriors in Australia by buying our Save Australia gear. And one more time, I will say, post a photo of you in Humane Roundup gear or Save Australia gear with the hashtag Coranda giveaway and tag the Humane Roundup as well as Coranda shelter beds in your post to be entered into February's drawing for some free Coranda gear.
Hashtag Officer Ocho, you'll get my vote.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and shout out to our January winner, Jamie. I have gotten your information over to Molly at Coranda, so she should be linking up with you and getting you your Coranda gear, and I expect a photo once you get it.
She was so excited.
She was so excited.
Yeah, she was super excited.
Cool. Well, since the whole gang is here, I think it's time for us to do You Know Him on Joe the ACO.
What?
Yeah.
Does he get to do his own intro?
No. Check this out.
What?
Yes. I love it.
I know myself.
Joe's like our hype guy though, so he's got to do like the intro.
I got to do the intro. Like,
Okay,
what's going
he
on,
can
everybody?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. What's going on, everyone? It's Joe the ACO. We're going to do another segment of Do You Know Him? And today, we're going to be interviewing yours truly, Joe the ACO. But who's going to do the interview for Joe the ACO? Let me introduce you guys to my buddy, OPP, Officer Paw Patrol. Come right up, my friend.
Man. All right, so me and Joe have known each other for a while, outside of the podcast as well. I know Joe, outside of what he does, but a lot of our listeners don't. You've had kind of like a unique background, I guess, or at least a unique path getting into animal control. You know, I know that you had a production company for a while. You've been into music production, video production. How did you go from all of that into getting into animal control?
It's funny because I always been very creative, and I always like anything that has to do with art or creating with my hands, or you talk photography, videography, whatever. But I always had that in the background. I got into animal control because I worked at PetSmart, and I'm gonna be honest, I had my first child, and I was like, all right, cool, we're good. And then literally my kids are like a year apart, like to the day. And when my daughter came, I'm like, I need a job that's gonna pay me good money. Well, someone says, hey, how about animal control? You know, you can make good money there. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna try it. So I applied for animal control. I killed it on the interview. I had no experience in animal control. I landed the job. My goal was to work for a radio station, and I went to school for all that, like creating stuff, creating videos, and making like commercials for ads and stuff like that. Anyways, well, I got into animal control, and I basically landed like the lowest. Now I wouldn't say the lowest, but like a nonprofit. So I wasn't making a lot of income. So I was making like $11 an hour starting off as a licensed inspector, and it just kind of went from there. I worked myself my way from the bottom. Oh, sorry, I worked myself from the bottom all the way to the top to actually becoming an animal control officer. But the creativity, we'll get more into that, how that kind of came into play. But I had no clue that my creativity side was going to be combined with my job. So it's just kind of unique how it happened.
See, and I'm kind of glad that you brought up the fact that you kind of just fell into it, because I think a lot of people, they expect us to be like, oh, this was a calling. This is something I wanted to do since I was a little kid. And at the end of the day, for some of us, this is just a job. It was like, hey, I saw a posting. I got to feed myself, so I'm going to apply. Not all of us knew from the very beginning that this is what we were going to do for a career. So I'm kind of glad that you touched on that. How long have you been in ACO now?
I want to say going on 7 years.
7 years. And so you went from being in a nonprofit to now you're with a government municipality. I guess what has been some of the biggest differences that you've seen? Because, a lot of us, we work on one side or the other, but you've seen both sides of it. Where do you fall? What do you think are the struggles and I guess the downfalls or the upsides to working in both?
Well, I work for two different nonprofits, and it was the struggle with nonprofits is not being fully equipped with the stuff you need to do your job. So a lot of companies have radios. We never had radios. We had those PTT phones. Like, hey, where you at?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
That amazes me. You guys didn't have radios, man. That was
no.
When you told us. I was like,
don't.
what? That's crazy. Wow, I don't comprehend that.
And I even said, like, hey, look, if anybody can help out get this agency radios, I would do my best to get back to those agencies to get them connected with radios, because they really do need them. And there's been incidents that happened in the past where I thought we were going to get radios after that, and we still didn't get radios. So I know they're expensive to get, but that's one of the things that we didn't have. Another thing we didn't have was like some agencies that I worked for, we didn't have snappy snares. I know they're not a big deal, and I think we have our guest here. She also mentioned she didn't have snappy snares, so she still doesn't have them. But also, we don't have a computer. We don't have like a software that we can use the software we had was in the shelters. It's not that was something portable, so I couldn't look someone's address up when I was in the field or stuff like that. So there was a lot of stuff that we lacked on. Some agencies didn't really carry like their baton or their asp or pepper spray. The only thing they carried was like a knife, and just to, not even for self-defense, just to cut a rope if you need to. But then my second agency, they were more equipped with their belts. They even carried handcuffs. But even then, there was still a lot of stuff that was lacking. Like when something broke, good luck trying to replace it or, trying to move forward with that. But also the income wasn't there. So trying to do a job that you like and not getting paid enough to kind of survive, that's another thing. But that's where you really got to realize, well, do I do it because I like this job, or do I go find something else? You're investing your time and knowledge into learning about this field, and it's just something that I really liked. I really liked doing this job. I really liked, actually, I'll call it a career because, we're the professionals in this field and I really enjoyed it. And once I got into a city, I mean, it was like, man, it was like a freaking, I can explain it, man. It was just, everything was there. Everything that you need for the job, brand new equipment. It's just like, I appreciate it. Like getting to that job now, to a city job, I appreciate and I value everything I have because I came from having like minimum stuff to work to actually having a full set of equipment or stuff that I need to do my job. So it's just like when I see people complain at my job, I'm like, dude, be happy. Like they pay you well, you got the proper gear, you have nice trucks. Like you got to struggle to kind of value your stuff that you have, you know?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And, you kind of touched on a little bit how, you actually enjoy doing this job. You like doing this job. And you, I guess, you want to give the departments out there the tools that they don't have, or give the department the tools they have or that they need that they don't have. And I guess that kind of goes back into the Joe the ACO brand. And like if you go back years, and I don't want to make this just like about you or about me, but like we were like almost like the OGs when it came to like social media for animal control officers. Like for the longest time it was me and you. And now there's a whole bunch out there, which I think is great. But what made you start Joe the ACO?
It's funny you said that because, I remember that you were on YouTube and I was on the creative side. I'm like, who is this guy? Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know what happened, dude? I made a design and if you know the Major League design.
With the red, white, and blue.
Yeah. So I made a design with Officer Dossett holding a catch pole. And it was a silhouette of him. And I put that out there to my department. I was just going to make stickers for us, just messing around. Well, the lieutenant shared it on one of those famous Facebook pages that's followed by a bunch of ACOs everywhere. Well, I started getting people reaching out to me. They started requesting me on Facebook. They're looking for me on Instagram. They're looking for me everywhere. And I didn't like to add them on my personal page. So I was like, dude, I'm not trying to make anything. I'm just doing this, just for my department. Well, you guys are familiar with the PAWmasters, right?
Yep.
They had a similar design and they reached out to me like, hey, we have a similar design. And they came down, they started talking to me. So we talked and they came down to visit me down in Lake Elsinore. And we talked about some stuff. I worked with them for a little bit. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do my own thing, dude. Like, I'm just going to start designing. I started Joe the ACO because of Mike the Cop. I don't know if you guys know who Mike the Cop is, but I thought his name was cool because it was simple. It was just Mike and he's a cop. So I'm like, well, I'm Joe and I'm an ACO. Like, that's simple, dude. And little did I know that it was actually going to become a thing, So it did. And it was Joe the ACO. And I started making a design here, a design there. And then a buddy of mine said, hey, dude, I'll make your first batch of shirts for free. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah, I'll make your first batch of shirts. So if you guys have the ACO flag, that was the first design I made in a shirt. And we sold those shirts. And then I profit off of that. Then I made more shirts. And then I paid them with that profit. Then I made more shirts. And then I just ended up buying my own stuff. And it just kind of took off from there, dude. Like basically just making shirts and designing and using my creativity that I went to school for or that I always had since I was a kid to bringing it into this field and noticing how big this thing was, like it actually adding creativity to this field. Because we have nothing. We don't have like no creative side to what we do. It's just basically just, I mean, I don't want to say we don't have nothing, but we just didn't have stuff that you can go by and be like, I'm proud of my job and I'm going to wear this shirt, So creating stuff for this field and bringing life to this field, it's almost like a calling, dude. It's like, we need this. When I make stuff, it's like, I'm not making it like, I want to make this to make money. I'm going to make some profit. So I'm going to do this. It's not about that. It's more than that. It's more like to bring something into this field that's going to stay in this field. That's going to help the other ACOs when they come in here and find something and just find that creativity. They're like, hell yeah, I'm proud of my job. And this is how I can represent what I do. And that's what I like, that we're getting together. Even this podcast, we're doing something for this field to make us feel proud of what we do and make this field stand out. So it kind of went from that to this now, and obviously Joe the ACO brought me here, man, to this podcast and talking to all you guys, which is crazy. It still blows my mind to this day.
Which is like the coolest thing too, because we all kind of had our own thing going on in our separate ways. And then we all kind of came together, which is awesome, being the influencers in the field. Hildy's yelling at me to wrap this up. So last question that I have, where do you plan on taking Joe the ACO as far as a brand? Like, what do you have going on for the future? And like, don't give out any big secrets, but me and you talk a lot about what we're going to do in the future and how we're going to continue to grow. What are some of your plans, or at least some of your goals that you have?
Honestly, like, it's funny because last time when I was on call, I'm like, if I die, you guys take my designs and make changes, right? take this to this field and add it and make it grow, right? Honestly, dude, all I really want for Joe the ACO, if you guys can see, I don't brand my stuff. I don't put my name all over it. That's not what it's about. It's really about... That's
something me and you have in common, actually. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not about a brand. If I wanted to make a brand, which you guys already know, I already tried with American Animal, and I'm sorry for those that were following us and it didn't get that far. But one of the things I noticed from having a brand and just having something just to stand for what it is a brand is limited to certain things. But when you do something out of creativity and something that you're making to just be wherever it needs to go, people will know where it's coming from, and people will come and find you because they know what it is. I don't even know if that makes sense, dude, but it's weird because in my head I see this whole picture. But Joe the ACO basically is going to stand for what we do as officers and people in this field. And as long as I keep creating creativity for our field, I'm just going to try to do as much as I can so I can spread it out there, whatever it is. But I can't really say I want to say Joe the ACO is like a business, even though it is. It's weird, man. Like, you probably understand. Like, it's not a. I don't look at it like a business. I look at it as a creativity.
It's a passion that happens to sometimes put a little money in our pockets. That's what it is.
It is, yeah. It's like, it's something I like doing, but I don't look at it as a business. I'm making so much sales. It's like, no, I'm creating stuff, and people are enjoying it, and they're wearing these shirts, and they're taking them to their classes, and it's just becoming so cool, like how people get so involved. So,
for sure.
Yeah, dude, I get really into it.
I know we're already over time, Hildy. Does anyone else have any questions for Joe before we wrap up the segment?
Yeah, I had a quick question. I know, remember when you interviewed me, that I sing a little bit. Now, have you, in the past, possibly done any music? And if so, what kind of music did you do?
I used to produce hip hop beats, and actually I used to try to rap and all that good stuff. I think we all gone through our phases when we thought we were rappers. But yeah, I did actually rap, and I did make beats a lot.
Oh, really?
And yeah.
What was your rap name?
I don't want to say my rapping name because I don't want people to look me up and be like, what?
You thought I was gonna let you slide on this? No, sir.
I heard there's videos on YouTube.
That's what I hear also.
So the funny thing is, though, is because we all know Joe's personal Facebook page. A lot of people that are our followers, they just know him as Joe the ACO. We know his personal page. Go back to like his pictures from like 2008, 2009. It's funny. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let you slide.
No, like seriously, like freestyle was my thing. I never really wrote down lyrics. I always freestyle, and I was pretty good at freestyling. Like when it was
Let's see what you got, then.
Stuff,
Let's go. Go in, son.
Don't put me in the spot.
Go in, son.
You want me to go in?
Go in, son.
Or halfway. All right.
Stop stalling.
Check. My check. 1, 2. You guys got quiet.
Good. That was good.
Hey.
Stick to being an ACO.
What's going on? Hold on, I haven't even started.
Oh, I do.
All right. Hey, what's going on? They call me Joe the ACO, and here's my flow. I'm coming from the 7-6, so if you don't know, that's in San Diego. I do this thing, so check out the lingo. I'm hanging with the Humane Podcast. We make this rap last. I'm talking from my intellect, so bear respect. When I'm coming to these streets, I'm coming checking for licenses. And if you don't believe, then better come talk to me, because I be the boss to this entire thing. And I just rap from the mind and the mindset. Best, I don't even know what I'm saying, but hey, if you didn't know,
yeah.
You know, it's Joe the ACO. And yes, he knows how to flow. So if you ever see me in person, you'll hit me up. I'll give you a shirt. Better yet, Nah, I won't say the neckline. I won't say the neckline.
I'll make your mind hurt. Hey!
I'll make your mind hurt.
All right, and that was it for this week's episode of the Humane Roundup podcast.
Dude, I haven't done that in a long time.
All right. Well, thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Joe. Y'all went hella overtime, but it's okay.
Hey, I was doing my best.
You know what? I saw that bus and I had to throw him underneath it.
Cool.
Good.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for that. And I did forget one important announcement, and that is that I have uploaded all of this year's episodes to YouTube. I created a Humane Roundup channel, and I'm going to start posting every Friday our new episodes there as well. So if you are a fan of listening to things on YouTube,
there's some good stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, we're going to be on there.
There's one particular channel that I'm privy to, but
and
pretty fond of.
At the end of each of our episodes, we can post up different things there, like the next video you should watch, featured channels, and if you haven't heard of Officer Paw Patrol, if you just go to the end of one of our videos, his link is there, and you can click to it and get to all of his videos. So.
You know what's funny is if you go to the end of his videos, there's a link to the PAWcast. It's really weird. It's like full circle.
Dang.
You know what? I tried doing one of those YouTube channels for fishing and crabbing and stuff.
It's work, man.
Like,
it's work.
Yeah, I was doing it with my daughter. I was like, you know what? I'd rather just fish. I'd rather just fish. This is goddamn a lot of work. I'd rather just be out there fishing by myself. Screw that shit.
Yeah. Cool. So, like I said, we have Mel here. Mel is an ACO from Idaho, and she, like I said, sent 2 very long emails, which I appreciate very much because I like when people interact with us and ask questions and tell us what they want to hear about. So she sent me a lot of what she wants to hear about, and we're going to talk about it right now, right after she tells us about herself.
I'm Mel. I have been an ACO for 10 years now. I work for a local police department, so I don't work for a shelter or anything like that. I am literally just an ACO that is attached to patrol. So my supervisor is a patrol sergeant, which can sometimes have its own slew of issues, but yeah, that's who I am. I used to be a zookeeper before I became an ACO. Yeah, and Idaho actually doesn't grow a shit ton of potatoes like everybody thinks it does. So I wanted to put that out there. We have mountains, mountains and guns. Really is what we have.
You got a great fishing stream out there. I went fishing there years back, and I think it was awesome down the Snake River.
Oh, it's awesome. If you like whitewater, it's the place to go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I also used to be a zookeeper before I became an animal control officer, and I also work for a police department, so we've got some things in common, but thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for sending your very long emails with lots of good information and questions. And also,
that was the most passive-aggressive comment I've ever heard.
It wasn't, though. I'm being sincere.
Thanks for those really long emails.
I talk a lot. I admit it.
And also, thank you for your donation to Wildlife Warriors on our post today.
Cowbell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo. All right. Also, do you race Baja?
I dabble in it every now and then. I am like a walking shit show. So anything that I can like have my adrenaline racing, I'm going to do. Like skydiving, love it. Scary animals, love it. Yeah, Baja, love it. So yeah.
That is awesome.
What do you race?
I've only been like the passenger part.
The Navigator?
Yeah, the Navigator. Just I've just done it on tracks that you have to pay for just for practice stuff.
Not the main course?
Well, I went down to Cabo, and you can actually rent their like $200,000 vehicles and race to your heart's content down there on their practice track for the Baja. So I've done that, and then I helped some friends build theirs. They don't let me drive it, obviously, because I'm a shit show. So, yeah, it's I can't even tell you all the detail work on it because they're just built from scratch.
Got it. Cool. So, like I said, Mel is a listener. She sent us a bunch of things to talk about.
Really long emails. Got it.
So we're going to talk about those. Before we get there, I just wanted to mention and thank those of you that participated in the Humane Roundup Facebook group. And when I asked for your favorite part of the show, the least favorite part of the show, and some other things that you guys want to hear on the show. And for the most part, actually, everyone told me that they didn't have a least favorite part of the show. The only two, I guess, improvements that were kind of thrown my way is that a couple of people wished that the episodes were longer. And I mean, an hour and a half is already pretty long, but like, I don't know, we can talk forever.
And little Kyle needs to go to bed.
Yeah, Kyle needs to go to bed also, but some of the things that some of the people said, from Jennifer, she wants us to continue talking about trainings we've had or didn't have, what needs different departments need help with, stories of what we have witnessed / dealt with on the job. From Jerry, he wants us to discuss, which this is up Kyle's alley for sure, officer safety, ACOs having vests, body cams, OC spray, bite sticks / batons. And then I think that was it as far as things that, oh no, one person also wanted us to talk about some strange animals that we've dealt with. So we
all
will
good topics.
Get to those in some of the coming episodes. So, but for this episode, we're going to start going down Mel's list and just talking about some of the things. The first here is talking about state associations, some of the pros and cons. We, a few episodes ago, actually, I think one of our last episodes of last year, we had Officer Fisher on, and she is with the Hoosier, which is a state association in the state that she works with. So we did talk about that a little bit there. And then I have mentioned many, many times on various episodes, Cal Animals, which is the state association here in California. And I don't want to take over this whole thing, but I will say one of the major pros that I have for Cal Animals is, and we talked about it last episode, they create this awesome law book for us every year with updated laws, and basically every law that we could potentially enforce here in the state of California, like every law that has to do with animals is in one place in this giant book, and it's like our Bible. So that is one of the big pros that I have for our state association. Dan and Kyle, you guys are the only two in other states. Obviously, Mel is in a different state, but they don't have a state association. They're in Idaho. Do either of you have one in your state?
Michigan does. Yep.
Colorado does, and I served on that state association for a long time. And they're basically in the process of combining the State Animal Control Officer Association with the State Animal Shelter Association. So it's just all one big thing. And good luck.
What?
Sounds like
Were you
wearing
involved?
your feelings right on your sleeve?
I know.
get her soup table for one.
Were you involved at all with getting that started, or is it something like you joined the board?
I haven't been on the board for 4 years, about 4 years. And
why are you no longer on the board, Daniel?
Yeah, I'll love to talk about that, actually. I know this isn't about me, but
He's rolling his eyes right now. He's like, God damn it, Kyle.
I think it's important. I think it's really important to talk about it. I'm not one to shy away from my mistakes, and it's definitely something that I made a mistake. Truthfully, my feeling was the board was in a situation where everybody always says yes to everything. And so I became more vocal about opposing certain things, which I think was an uncomfortable situation, because before that, at that time, I was, everybody said yes. So out of nowhere, I started just opposing things. Long story short, I was at a training, and at that training, I was talking to a former board member who was forced off of the board. So we were kind of sharing some of our experiences and politics. And so I was saying not so many nice things about the board in front of other people who ran back and told their supervisor that instead of just having a conversation with me, like face to face, like, hey man, that's not cool. You shouldn't be talking like that in a public setting. So then the board asked me to resign, and I said, no, I'm not going to do that. You talk more crap than I do. It's just you talk it in a sense that it's not heard by other people. So I was then forced off of that board at that time, which is fine. I mean, it gave me opportunities to do other things, and, you learn from it. And, I'm one to speak how I feel. I'm not one to shy away from the truth. And, that whole situation is something that could have been avoided if I had a filter, or if I, I don't know, just was more.
It could have been avoided if people didn't drop dime on you.
When keeping it real goes wrong.
Well, no, Ocho has a point. Ocho does have a point. The reality is, if I hear something or somebody saying something that just isn't cool, you and I are going to have a conversation. If I think that after that conversation, you're still not getting it, then I'm going to move it up the flagpole. However, that doesn't exclude or excuse my behavior, right? My behavior put myself in that situation. And so I'm always learning about things. And, it's caused a big rift in a lot of situations today. Whereas, I forgive people. I'm not here to be like, oh, this person sucks. Do what you do. I'm proud of everybody in this industry. We got to work together as a team. So
I think people just get bitter because their opinion they have an opinion of the herd, and you have a different opinion. That's what people don't like.
Absolutely. There's one thing there, and the truth hurts, right? So if I'm out there talking about agendas, we all have our own agenda. There's no hiding that, 100%. And some of us in other states on boards, national boards, have agendas. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you put it out there, make them feel uncomfortable or expose them to people that they don't want them to see their true colors, then they retaliate in the only way that they know how, and that's to try to either get you in trouble at your current position at your work, which I've had happen plenty of times, or they just don't want to deal with you. I feel like, and you guys all know me, I'll respond to text messages, and I feel like our text messages were down this week for whatever reason, so we got to step that up. However, I feel it's important, like, steel sharpens steel, or iron. What's the phrase? Iron sharpens iron. If you go, you know what I mean? And so I expect you, if I'm not doing something that's appropriate, call me out. Let's have a conversation and let's get better together.
Let's talk about it.
Did you just say our texting was a little low?
It felt low.
Well,
I don't know, man. I took a nap. I took a nap one day, and it was like 47 texts in like 20 minutes. I was like, crap.
I think I got back it was a long week, guys. I was out in Fort Leonard Wood doing some training for the military, which was awesome. I'm going to plug LETI really quick for that awesome opportunity. But I got back, and I went to bed and woke up, and there were like 83 messages in my inbox, and I was like, "Holy crap! What were you guys talking about?"
Yeah, that same one. It was like 7 something. I was like, "Holy crap! What did I miss?"
And Dan never answered my question. Were you involved in getting that set up, or you just kind of joined the board after it was a thing?
So that hasn't happened yet. It's currently in the works. So I was off of the board before it happened. I will say that I don't think it's the best thing for the boards, as too many chiefs and not enough Indians, if to use that phrase. I just think that there's an opportunity, and it's hard because it's all voluntary. But to put it all in one setting, again, takes focus off the officers. I feel like the shelter does a lot of different things. They do great things. Both boards do great things, but then you don't have an actual representative for you. It's just going to be one big Colorado. I don't know what they're going to call it. Colorado Welfare Association League. Who knows? I just don't think that it's going to be as focused as it should be.
Got it. And Kyle, what's up with the association in Michigan?
Well, we don't have any of the problems that they do in Colorado, let me tell you. No, our association here in Michigan, honestly, I can't say anything negative about them. They put on 2 state-run conferences, one in the spring, one in the fall. I've said it before in other episodes that in Michigan, we don't really do anything at the national level when it comes to animal control. Like, nobody goes to the NACA academies. No one goes to nacho trainings unless it's just for, like continued education. It's mainly focused more internally on the state. And I think that it's a good thing to a point, because I can probably name somebody in every department throughout the state of Michigan. And it's because of our state-run association and because they hold those conferences twice a year that I'm able to do that. So, yeah, Michigan Association of Animal Control Officers. That's what we have here.
That's awesome. So back to cow animals. I don't have anything really bad to say about them either. They do a conference. They host a animal control academy, a basic and advanced, at least a couple of times a year. They're out there lobbying for new animal welfare laws for us animal control officers, etc. They are currently working on standardizing some standards basically for who can be hired as an ACO, what trainings they need to have, what trainings current ACOs need to have, and continuing education they need to get. So they're doing a lot of really good things for us, and I don't really have anything bad to say about them, except for I have not seen them reach out to those of us that are doing this job every single day asking for any input for us, which I see a lot from management, people making decisions, now the association, is those of us that are actually doing the job every single day don't tend to be included in any of the decision making or idea or brainstorming. So
does that surprise you, though? I mean, look, like, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right at all. But does it surprise you, just given the climate of the world we live in?
It doesn't surprise me at all. But that is one of the things that I personally feel makes a good leader, is that they get input and talk to those of the
subject matter experts.
Yeah, those people that are under them doing the job every day, because they may have spent 20 years doing the job, but it's 2020, not 1980 anymore. So animal control is not the same as it was back then.
Hey, it's Officer Hildy here, and I wanted to tell you about Anchor FM. We use Anchor for the Humane Roundup podcast for a few reasons. Let me explain. Anchor is free. They've got tons of tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer or smartphone. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Also, everything you need to make a podcast is here in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And that's ANCHOR.FM.
No, you're absolutely right. And I guess actually to go back to like what Daniel was saying, I'm a firm believer in order to be a chief, you need to have been an Indian.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, that's kind of my point.
Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate you bringing this up, and I know we got to switch topics, but I will say that I really support the movement, and I hope to be, a part of it moving forward. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that everything is all gravy when it's not. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes in any industry, whether it's our industry or not. And for me, again, it's forgiveness. And I know on the national level, I'm friends with some people that are blacklisted or blackballed from certain trainings, and they're great speakers. They're brilliant minds.
Hey man, we're all friends with you, so we get it.
But the reality is, like, they get the short end of the stick because they don't want to deal with that person's personality. And I feel like we need to figure out ways to, we don't have to be friends outside of the conferences and stuff, but if that person can help a whole new generation learn, then why not bring them in and
so what you're
utilize their
saying
skills?
is you don't need to be friends with somebody in order to work well with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So the next question that Mel brought up is discussing social media / internet / computer crimes. So we talked about this a little bit regarding Don't Fuck with Cats on Netflix. And again, if you have not watched it, you need to go and watch it. It is fan-fucking-tastic. So just go watch it. So question number 1 was, how many of us have actually investigated video or internet crimes, basically? And it sounds like Mel has. Are you at liberty to talk about that at all?
Yeah, I've actually done a few. I've gone to some classes about doing social media investigations and like interrogating routers and all of that. So some of these were last year, but one of them was involving some kids abusing an animal via Snapchat. And I'm sure if you're parents or anything, Snapchat is the bane of our existence. Because videos disappear very quickly on there. But luckily somebody recorded it. But trying to find the originating video, having to get a search warrant to take a phone away, doing stuff like that. We eventually solved that one, but I also had an online video that someone from Oklahoma sent to me because they said it came from Idaho. So then I had to try to figure out the origination of this video, and it took a lot of effort, but basically all I could determine was it didn't happen in Idaho. And at that point, I kind of stopped my investigation just because I have a lot of other calls I have to handle, and I hate to say it like that, but there's only so many resources I can put into things if it didn't happen in my jurisdiction.
And you're the only officer there, correct?
There's 2 of us. We're 50% short-staffed right now. I'm not sure if you're aware, but our area is the fastest growing part of the U.S. right now. So we're woefully understaffed right now. So there's just 2. So I'm by myself my end of the week, and she's by herself her end of the week.
Understood. Got it. And have any of you other guys done any internet crimes?
Yeah, I've done a handful of them. My most recent one would have been a bestiality case where it was similar to that, as a video posted online in my jurisdiction, and then it opens up a can of worms and you go from there.
Got it. And Mel did send a link that I'll include in the show notes, but it's to the PACT, one of their online courses. And PACT, if you don't know, is the Public Agency Training Council. Judging by the looks of their website, I'm not sure how updated this information is, because as we all know, the social media world, the internet, is evolving faster than we can keep up with. So I will link this training, though, in the show notes. So thank you for that, Mel. One of the other things that she mentioned is having a lack of resources, and I think all of us can relate with that, but more so me also working with the police department, it's kind of a little more of a tease because like we have all of the people there that are experts in investigating certain things or putting together task forces and those certain things, but the human cases obviously tend to get more attention than some of the animal crimes. So I know that can for sure be frustrating. Kyle, when you were investigating yours, was it just kind of all you? Was your sheriff's department or anyone involved or helpful?
No, it was all me. And I'm not saying that like bragging. I didn't have help. I would have taken any help I could have gotten. Our prosecutor's office helped me because that would have been my first time that I had to do a search warrant for a Facebook account.
Yeah.
So that was uncharted territory for me. So I got in contact with our prosecutor who has done countless, electronic search warrants. And we just sat down in her office and she helped me type up the search warrant that way to get the Facebook warrant, and then also do the preservation order through Facebook prior to getting the warrant signed. So all of the documents for this particular account would not be deleted. That's really the only help I had. And then you get to sit there and go through thousands of documents that Facebook sends you.
Yeah. And Daniel, because you are kind of in, and it doesn't have to just be you answering, but does anyone know of any other social media or internet crime trainings out there other than the one that I mentioned from PACT?
I don't specifically know of anything off the top of my head. There are individual classes out there that people put on at either your state trainings or your national trainings, and I can't recall this individual's name. However, they do talk about creating fake accounts, being able to then obtain data, like Kyle was saying, through a subpoena or a warrant, and putting it all together that way. So, but I don't have anything off the top of my head.
Got it.
I think actually Code 3 Associates in the Nacho Academy are actually planning on putting on a class to add in there about social media.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought them up because their trainings are fucking awesome. Like, they're some of the most detailed, awesome trainings that I've been to. And the thing that I thought was super cool is it wasn't just like one person up there that is like, oh, I'm a fucking expert in everything. I'm going to teach you all about everything you need to know. Like, they had retired district attorneys, veterinarians, shelter director. Like, they had a slew of people there to teach different sections of the training. So I thought that was pretty awesome. And I think we've identified a shortcoming in our profession. So maybe we need to reach out to some people, or even potentially amongst us, maybe come up with some training that we can start doing to help others. And I think we can get this last one in the amount of time that we have left, but it will probably spill over to the next time we have Mel back, because this one is a big passion of mine, I guess. And the question is how we get other law enforcement and prosecutors to take our cruelty cases seriously. And I'll take it one step further to like just take us as the professionals that we are seriously. And I think there's a bunch of different parts to that, which Mel, you brought up in your emails. And it kind of starts with the way that we carry ourselves, the way that we look, our command presence, all of that good stuff. And then I think next in line would be the level of expertise that we have in our job, which is knowing our local and state laws in and out as they pertain to our job, other laws that may pertain to our job that we may or may not necessarily have the authority to pursue or investigate, but they may be helpful to our case, such as I mentioned a case on one of our episodes where a gentleman killed a dog, took a couple of pieces of property, took those pieces of property, the dog that he killed inhumanely burned all three of the dog and the two pieces of property. And I definitely am no arson investigator, but that is for sure something that guy got charged with. So having that relationship with our law enforcement or district attorneys or whoever can help us investigate other things. So, do you guys have anything else to add? I know it's a giant can of worms.
One of the best things we can do, and it doesn't cost anything, is put on trainings for your local police departments. If they see you as an expert, right? If they see you teaching them about whether it's dog behavior or how to report animal cruelty, then your connections with them in the field are going to be different. I feel that right now in this current climate, we're starting to see the older officers retire, the ones that know us as the dog catchers, because let's be honest, we were the dog catchers for a long time. So I think that getting rid of that guard and just training the newer officers with that level of professionalism that we do have will continue to create that unique relationship so we can get the support that's necessary.
I agree with Dan. When I go, because now that I work for a city, I come across the same deputies, and every time I see them, I introduce myself to them. Hey, I'm so and so, and just start building that relationship with them. And as calls come together, they do search warrants, they do all kinds of stuff. They recognize me and they see how I behave. I don't behave like the dog catcher. I'm more than that. So that definitely sets the mood different. Instead of being just a dog catcher, it's more of an educated officer in this field. So I have noticed the difference once I started engaging more with police. And I'll be honest, dude, I used to not really engage with police officers because I'd be like, nah, they just think we're dog catchers. But once I changed that, it really changed the way they looked at us as well.
What I found helpful because I work for a police department, I actually developed a post-certified course for all law enforcement personnel. So all of our new police hires, they have to go through the course that I teach on dog behavior, how to handle animal calls, because we're not on call. So when we're not there, they have to handle our calls. And then we got the class certified through Idaho Post. So those are the things that I've tried to do, just because out here, and I'm sure in many other states, some areas just don't have animal control at all. It's the catch-all person who does literally everything: code enforcement, animal control, you name it. So I try to go around and teach those professionals as well in my state. But yeah, it's a long road for us here.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And Dan and Joe, you guys brought up a good thing, and I'm going to wrap us up here because I do want to get to our game. But the dog catcher was a thing, and it's all about education. So we have
Still a thing.
I would say still a thing, man.
Yeah, and we have to educate not only the public, but also some of our peers, being the sheriff's department, the police officers we work with, about that's not the way we do things anymore. Because the dog catcher was out there snatching up dogs, killing them, throwing them in cages, dumping them in the river. They were doing all of the bad things that people think that we still do.
Shooting dogs with rifles.
Shooting dogs. Yeah. So
dogs.
they were doing those things. So we can't act like it was never a thing, because it was a thing. But
in a lot of agencies, just really quick, didn't mean to cut you off there, but most agencies know us that they arrest somebody or somebody's dead on scene and they need an animal picked up. That's it. They don't have other experience that, hey, we need you out here on an investigation for X, Y, and Z, or they only know you as coming to pick up a dog.
Yeah. And it's all about education. And Mel, you might appreciate this, but we actually have a manager. We are a part of the police department, but we kind of do our own thing. The closest thing really that the police department kind of has to do with us is that our manager reports to one of the captains, but we're not necessarily assigned to a sergeant while we're working or anything like that. But they literally had no idea that we could issue notice to appears. They thought we could only do admin sites and that we didn't really have any authority. And it wasn't until I told one of the sergeants, hey, under 830.9, it gives us the authority. We're not peace officers, but we have similar peace officer powers while we are here at work. And so it took having that conversation for them to be like, oh shit, like we didn't know that. So it is all about knowing our job in and out, knowing the laws in and out, and educating people, even if that means some of the peers or people that are in charge of us that have no fucking idea.
And if you talk to a DA, break it down to them how an investigation kind of works. Because a lot of times they're not going to look for the case for a dog that's being abused. You're going to look for the case that's going to, be a bigger case, like a person's case. So,
right.
And the reason why I say that, because we had a DA that we work with, and the reason why we won her over, because she was an animal lover. And then once she realized all the stuff we did and the stuff that we could do, she started looking into animal welfare and cases. And she started seeing that we won a few cases once she got involved. And then ever since then, she was our to-go-to person. So every time we had a case, boom. And she would treat us with respect, because she didn't even know all the things we can do. She was just like, most of the DAs just toss her stuff all over the place. Oh, yeah, sure, whatever. But the lieutenant we used to have was very adamant. He will always go back, and he was always trying to bring up a conversation and be friendly with them, and he won them over. So then we had a DA that we could go to. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, when it comes to laws and animal control, a lot of people don't know exactly what we're doing or what we can do. So it can be tough.
My new thing to, because I know you love hearing me say animal protection officer all the time. I'm just like, I'm an animal control officer and animal cruelty investigator. I think it's just easier for people to understand what that means.
Yeah, for sure. So, I'm going to wrap us up there so we can get to our game. But again, I wanted to thank Mel for all of these questions and information and coming on the show. We definitely want to have you back to continue this conversation till we get to the end of all of the questions and things that you brought up, because they are a lot of really good things. And
until you get my next email, right?
Well, yeah, it just continues. I'm okay with that. But we do have a guest on next week, but we would love to have you back. You're welcome to hang out with us if you want to and play our game with us, or we will.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I told you I'm a shit show. I like games.
Cool.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We are going to play Categories ACO edition. Who here has played Categories before?
Never.
No one?
Never.
Okay.
What? That's like the best game ever.
I know.
You also got to understand, I'm in California where there's Mexicans here, and I don't know what that. I know Loteria, and I know that, but I don't know what is it. Scatter or
basically Categories is like a fast thinking category game, basically. So if you guys don't have like a phone or something to write with or a steel trap for a brain, you should get one of those things, because you're going to need it. So basically the object of this game is to come up with a unique answers for each category that I'm going to give. So say I give you the topic flowers. So your object would be to come up with 3 different kinds of flowers that like no one else would think of. Because if someone else has the same answer that you have, then both of you don't get points. So only people that have unique answers that no one else guesses gets points. Does that make sense?
It does.
Basically, I have 4 categories here. I'm asking for 3 answers for each category, and then we're going to go through and figure out points. Okay?
Let's do it.
Okay, so category number 1 is going to be ACO tools. So you guys are going to write down or think of 3 ACO tools. And if you have unique answers, you will get points. And if everyone guesses catch pole, then you don't get points.
Oh, okay. That was my first one. Never mind.
All right, I'm good. OPP's locked in. He's got his 3.
Ocho, you still here, man?
He's still looking for a piece of paper.
Category 2 is going to be call types. So different types of calls that we go on.
Like very specific or more generic?
Generic. So like, I don't want to name
dog
it.
bite.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
But again, you have to be unique. If everyone guesses dog bite, no one gets
Right.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Category number 3 is things you might find in an animal control officer's vehicle.
Is this in general or like what we have specifically in ours?
Just you can write down anything
Okay.
that you might find in an ACO's vehicle, and if no one else guesses the same thing, then you'll get points. But like obviously, like we're not gonna accept dildo because like no one should have a dildo.
Whoa!
in there.
Shit, you took mine. Damn it.
Let me tell you really quick about this call. I have to throw this in there. So it was a yeah. Wait. You have to hear this call. This was many years.
I like the segue.
I got called out. It was a PD assist, and I get on scene, and there's a vehicle in the middle
You
of
were
the
assisting
intersection.
the PD with the dildo?
And so I get to the intersection, and I walk up, and the cop is super excited. He was like, "Hey, man, we already have the dog in our vehicle, but I have to tell you what happened here." I was like, "All right, man, what happened?" He was like, "This lady was passed out in the intersection, and then when EMS got on scene, they were like, 'Lady, get up,' and then they like kind of pushed her back from the steering wheel, and she had a dildo still inside of her."
Maybe it's one of those. Maybe it was like not right.
You know what? You're all lucky.
We're calling her a multitasker.
You're all lucky you're men because I was the only female at my department for the longest time. So if patrol arrested a woman with something in her vagina, I had to be the one to sit and wait for it to come out. So,
Wow.
yep, I can't make that shit up. Like, yep.
Was it drugs?
Yeah,
drugs,
I worked in
all
a jail,
kinds of stuff.
so I get it.
It's basically like a human pocket. You can stick whatever you want up there.
It's called your prison purse.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Number 4.
All right, in category number 4, I have forms that you might find in an animal control officer's posse box, or I know some people don't have posse boxes, so on their clipboard or in their duty bag.
And that was forms.
Forms, yeah.
Got it.
By the way, I chose this game because it's real fucking hard to find animal control trivia questions.
I'm done. This game's a piece of cake.
It's kind of hard to think of forms that are unique, like forms that other people wouldn't say.
But like everyone also is thinking the same way you're thinking, so someone might not write down license application because they think everyone else is going to pick it.
It's hard too because forms that I use, other departments might not use.
Well, it'll be unique.
Hell yeah, it will be.
Invite him the next rap song here.
I'm
This
done.
game is easy.
This game is easy.
I got this in the bag, y'all. I got
It's
this.
not a quiz, Ocho.
He's gonna have like leash law ticket, muzzle.
All right, you guys ready?
Ready?
Let's do
Been
it.
ready.
All right, so now we're going to go around and everyone's going to name off their answers. And if someone names off an answer that you have written down for that category, speak up. Otherwise, they're going to get a point.
So we're kind of on the honor system here a little bit.
We are. Just because
Okay.
we're not in the same room, so.
And integrity is a very big part of our job, so I expect.
Yeah, it's one of the tools in my bag for question number 1: integrity. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Nice,
It's not.
All right, so we're going to start with ACO tools, and because Mel is a lady and our guest, she's going to kick us off. What is your first tool?
Voice.
I got it. I have mouth.
Fuck.
What's your second one?
Latex gloves. Oh, sorry, nitrile. Fuck. Damn
Gloves.
it. Yeah.
Does anyone
glove.
else have gloves?
Yeah, same gloves.
No?
I don't
That's
use
1
gloves.
point. And your third one?
Bike lock.
Anyone else have bike lock? No?
No.
I use those for traps, so 2 points. Kyle, what you got?
So my first one, I didn't speak up when she said voice, but it is different, but it goes hand in hand. I put my brain.
I accept that.
Your brain?
Yeah, my brain.
Anyone else? No?
I don't got brain.
And then this
Shit.
one was a curveball because I was hoping it would be so simple that nobody else would pick it. A pen.
Oh.
Got
Anyone
you.
else?
Nope.
No? Okay.
No.
And
Third
third, I put boot covers.
Boot
No.
cover.
I was gonna
That's
put
good.
Tyvek suits too, but no.
3 points.
3 points.
Dang. Dan, what you got?
Well, I had mouth. That's weak. Paracord. Anybody keep paracord in their truck?
I do,
I
but I
have
didn't
one.
put it on my list. So
I have a leash.
Nope.
Paracord.
Paracord specific.
Yeah.
Nah.
And your third one?
Simple. My phone.
I like it.
that's good. That's 2 for Dan.
Shit,
Yeah.
my shit's weak.
Joe, the ACO.
I put treats.
That's a good one.
That's
Anyone
a good
got
one.
that?
It
Yeah.
does work.
Nope.
All right, go.
Second, I use towels.
That's a
Good one too.
And number
because-
3?
Okay, and number 3, you guys are gonna be like, "What the f?" A bucket.
That's a good one for Snake.
No, yeah. Snake
Yeah.
bucket.
Yeah. Sweet. 3 points.
All right.
Ocho, what you got?
I got lariat.
Ding ding
Of course
ding.
you did.
You guys are Mr. Snappy Snares over there.
Of course you did.
Anyone else got that?
I should
Of course
have
not.
put it.
No.
You know I
All
could
right.
have put.
We're not that old.
Number 2.
Live trap.
Okay.
Good.
No. Number 3.
Laptop.
Simple.
All right. Sounds like 3
Three
points
L's,
to me.
baby.
Okay. Category number 2, call types. Mel, what do you got?
I got nuisance dog.
Okay.
Informational. And theft.
I did not have any of those.
Sounds like 3 points. Kyle?
I think I might have went a little too specific on these, but these have all been calls that I've actually done. Dog eating a dead owner.
Right on.
Oh, I've done that. It's gnarly.
Yeah.
I didn't write it, but I've been there.
Horse giving birth in the roadway.
Holy shit.
That's cool.
It's
Okay.
messy.
An alligator hit by a car.
Sounds like 3 points.
Hell yeah.
Dan?
So, roosters aren't allowed in my city. So, rooster check.
Okay.
A yard inspection for an intact permit. And
Okay.
of course, since we talked about it earlier, a bestiality call.
Damn.
Sounds
Nope.
like 3 points. Oh, or Joe?
All right. First one: hit by car, donkey. Dog in the backyard never goes inside, so it's on. It's abuse. And neighbor's dog in my backyard.
So you did a welfare check and a dog at large, like the 2 most basic calls ever, and you're gonna get 3 points.
I know.
I went basic too. You guys
All
are
right.
going all crazy.
3 points. Och.
Barking complaint.
Okay.
Wildlife, loose wildlife.
Okay.
Isn't all wildlife loose?
I
Not
think so.
necessarily.
And number 3?
Well, wildlife. Dog and car.
That's a good one. 3 points. All right. Well, Kyle, Joe, and Ocho are in the lead so far with 6 points. Category number 4, things that you might find. Or sorry, 3 things that you might find in an animal control vehicle. Mel, what do you got?
Okay, so I'm going with just my truck. So my first one is a Bob Ross statue.
Painting happy little trees.
Okay.
Yeah, heck yeah. He's, important. A fire extinguisher.
Okay.
And the American flag. Or flag, however the fuck you people say it. Flag? Flag.
America.
All right.
Pew, pew, pew.
3 points. Kyle?
A can of dip.
Okay.
Dried blood.
Okay.
And tears.
Tears. All right. Dan?
Wait. Did he say dry blood?
He did.
Yeah.
I put blood.
Right.
Oh, that's
Got
a
him.
cancellation point.
Okay.
Got it.
All right.
2 points on that one. Dan?
So that means I lose points too, or what?
Yeah, you don't get a point for
Yep.
that.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know how to follow that, though. That was pretty heartfelt there, Kyle. You need to hug, buddy. All right. So, sunflower seeds,
Oh,
Okay.
good one.
That's a good one.
I always carry sunflower seeds.
a back support pillow. Get your ego
Fucking old ass, man.
ergonomics or whatever you call it. You got to have that nice, whatever that's called, form when you're driving around forever.
Yeah.
Next to your
And then
card.
I got little Matchbox trucks in there, little Matchbox ACO trucks.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, they're in there.
3 points. Joe, the ACO. What you got?
Well, I had blood, but that's gone. Animal hair.
Okay.
And my last one, a picture of my main girl, Virgin Mary picture on the dash.
Do you know them?
Cool.
What to
2
do?
points.
Dude, that's hardcore Mexican.
Yeah. She's always
Hardcore.
looking at me.
Ouch.
I got a mini fridge.
Okay.
What? Bro.
Of course you do.
My wife gave me a little car mini fridge to keep my waters cold. Or sometimes when I transfer dogs, I got for medications that need to stay cold. Boom, right there.
Hey, that's why you got to send me a private text message and be like, hey, dude, I want one of your shirts, but it's got to be like a 4X. It's because you got a fucking mini fridge in your truck.
No,
That's
dude,
why I hold my
worked,
drinks.
I worked with someone that had a mini fridge in their truck.
See what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Number 2?
Empty coffee cups.
That's
Okay.
a good one.
Yeah.
I got a few of those.
And number 3?
Fire bag.
Sick.
Hold on. Are we gonna say fire bag is different than fire extinguisher?
Yeah, it's totally a different thing.
It's totally different.
Then I think
Yeah.
dried blood is different than blood.
No.
We're not gonna
it's
toss
so
a bag
bad.
out
I
of fire.
agree with Kyle. I said
The fire bag
After you
doesn't
pick
put
up
out
the
a
animal-
fire. It protects
Yeah,
you
fire
from
bag
fire.
doesn't put out a fire. It'll
He
make
said
the fire
dry blood.
bigger.
I said fresh blood.
I'm pretty sure a
Blood,
fire
bro.
extinguisher by itself doesn't put out a fire either. You need someone to squeeze a trigger.
Hold on. Is that fire bag the thing that you were in
Yeah.
on Facebook the other day where you
You
like
get
cocooned
inside
up?
of it so you don't get burned.
It's wildland firefighting. Yeah.
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 Two
Sick.
completely different things.
Oh,
All right. And last but not least, category number 4, forms that you might find in an animal control officer's posse box or on their clipboard. Mel, what do you got?
Protective custody form. Witness statement.
Okay.
And a field interview card.
Sounds like you got 3 points.
So would my safe hold form be the same as a protective custody form?
Yes.
Yes,
Is that
it
what you use it
would.
for?
Yep.
So you got 2 points.
Motherfucker. Damn it.
Welcome to the Humane Roundup podcast.
Yeah. Kyle, what you got?
My first one, I just went simple. I did an impound slip. No
Okay.
one?
Yeah.
Then I did advice of rights Miranda form. And then
Okay.
I did a consent to search form.
I got those. 3 points.
Awesome.
Dan?
Well, most likely after tomorrow, this won't really mean much, but a restricted breed order and evaluation form.
Okay.
A
you
truck
have good
log.
news for tomorrow?
Well, next week we'll talk about it.
Okay,
Let's
cool.
talk about it.
Number
talk
2
about
was
it.
truck log. Anyone have that? Or like an officer daily log? Anything?
I have one, but I didn't put it on.
Okay. And number
Same.
3?
Was that safe hold? But
Okay.
we canceled out. Yeah.
Got it. Joe the ACO.
Okay, I have citations.
Okay.
I have receipts. We collect
Like
money
what
out
kind
of
of
the field.
receipts?
When we collect money or we
Like bill for
impound.
services.
Yeah,
Okay.
so like if we're picking up someone's dead dog, they pay us a fee. I give them a receipt. Okay, and then the last thing is the bite report.
Bite
I was
report?
gonna put that, but I go, you know what? Someone else is gonna put that.
Basic.
All right.
Did I get
3 points.
All right.
Ouch.
Ocho's about to win.
Euthanasia requests,
Okay.
livestock identifiers,
Okay.
post or pre-seizure notices.
Ah,
It's a good one. All right. 3 points.
You're listening to the Humane Roundup podcast.
All right. Ocho's our winner.
That's right.
Cal.
Cool. How'd you guys like that game?
I think we need to play Never Have I Ever, where we all have a drink in front of us, other than Daniel.
I volunteer as tribute. I'm on that one. Yes.
All right.
I already pre-gamed it tonight with half a bottle of wine, so I'll just save the other half for then.
Should
Or
try
you
that
could
next
get more.
episode.
You're Joe. I should try that.
I never drink alcohol while we're on podcast.
Oh, really?
You should
Because I've
try
only
that.
not drank alcohol 2 episodes.
You should try it. Like I only did it one time and it was like hard for me to stay focused, so I'm not gonna do it. But
We should probably have a podcast where it's not formal, and we should just kind of get together and just talk. Just talk.
Just talk it out.
Like if we were hanging out together, like live.
It's gonna happen in October.
Like, what's up, Kyle? Hey, what's going on? Hey, you know,
I'm down with it.
so.
Cool.
Down
All right, well-
OPP.
That is all we have for this week's episode. Again, thank you, Mel, for all of the
Melly Mel.
questions and information
Woo!
and being awesome and joining us today.
Wait, one thing. Whoa.
Whoa.
Dan, we haven't asked her the tool.
Oh,
All the
you're
guys
right.
can
Tool?
answer the tool question.
But you didn't let me get to it yet.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah. But if I'm being for real, I was going to forget. So, Mel, all of our guests, since this first question, the first time this question got asked, I think we have asked them this question, and that is, what is your favorite tool to use in the field?
Like, does it have to be like a physical tool? Can I say my voice?
You can say your voice, but we also want the physical tool.
Oh, treats. Does that work?
Nice. Yeah,
does.
it
Yeah.
works.
I guess.
My department doesn't actually have snappy snares. I've never used one in my life.
All right. That's what we're
Yeah.
So I'm not on the snappy snare bandwagon. And yes,
Do you know
I
how to
do
use a
catch
lariat?
chickens.
Do you know how to use a lariat?
And when you say lariat, do you mean like I'm on a horse and I'm using
No,
a rope? Because I've
absolutely
done
not.
that too.
No, like just throwing it at dogs that are at large that are 12 feet away from you.
Fuck no. I use treats.
That doesn't always work.
Dang.
Or I'll just grab the nearest child and use them as bait. I don't know. Like, no.
Solid.
How many of you guys yell at dogs? Say sit, see if it works. While you're
It
You know
works
I yell.
sometimes.
Hey, you know I yell at
Like,
dogs.
Dan,
Yeah. Yeah, Daniel, you little bitch.
Stand down.
Dan gets a complex.
All right, cool. So that's all we have this week. Next week, we do have an animal welfare lobbyist that is going to be coming on the show to talk about what that looks like and what that's all about. So super excited for that
Do we have
conversation.
to be all professional and polite?
No, she's
No.
awesome.
No.
No, she's
I'm
awesome.
gonna be me.
No, she's cool. So we don't ever have to do that. Just an FYI, throwing that out there. Until we're interviewing, I don't know.
You saw how I was with the president of NACA, so
Very professional.
You were still professional and polite. You just asked some of the hard
was.
questions.
I was.
if we're interviewing the like president of HSUS, like we gotta like be a little more professional, but like not over the
Do
top.
we though?
Like we don't have to, but like I would like it if we were.
But that wouldn't be authentic right there.
So when are we interviewing the president of the HS?
I mean, I don't know, but
This is our show. They're coming.
True.
Speaking
of,
gonna be Ocho.
I've been in communications with Phil from the link, and I hope to have him on soon. The only issue is going to be he is on the East Coast and cannot stay up super late like Kyle. He says that it will be way too late for him to think clearly at that time, so we may have to figure that portion out, but he will be on the show soon-ish. So again, join us next week here. We're going to have an animal welfare lobbyist who's been involved with some legislative stuff here in California. And again, I wanted to throw out there a big shout out to Coranda for sponsoring us and allowing us to do these giveaways and just helping us in so many different ways. So shout out Coranda Beds, shout out
Coranda.
Coranda Shelter Pro, shout out Molly, like they're awesome. So and again, our February giveaway, Humane Roundup or Save Australia swag, in a post on social media, tag the Humane Roundup, Coranda, and hashtag Coranda giveaway. And
You know how to get my vote.
yeah, and you know how to get Dan's vote.
Keep it humane, man.
Exactly.
And if you catch a theme here, you might know how to get Kyle's vote. Hashtag ACO strong. Just throwing that out there.
And if you want my vote,
there we go.
Purchase my new shirt that just came out, or coming out in. It's a pretty badass shirt. You know, I think I'm really going to be getting into like photography for aggressive animals and just put them on shirts, because it's the other side of animals that we deal with all the time that people don't see. We come face to face with that.
Yeah, sure.
That's pretty unique.
Yeah.
Cool. We're out of here. All right. Well, good night, guys.
Right,
Later.
everybody. Stay safe.
Have a good night, guys.
Later.
Bye.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Humane Roundup PAWcast. Please take a moment to rate and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts. Want to get in touch with us? Visit humaneroundup.com. Email us at humaneroundup@gmail.com. Text us or leave us a voicemail at 916-241-3464 or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Humane Roundup.